How's it going, guys? It's your boy Kanji FPL, and it's been a minute, but welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to be posting a YouTube video again. It's been a while, so miss you guys, and hopefully you guys have missed my quality content too. So this week it's gonna be wild because I am currently on my Gameweek 22 wildcard. I know it sounds early to be pulling the trigger on a wildcard, but a lot of factors have just fallen into place, and I feel like there's just so much to break down. And I looked at my team and I was thinking to myself, like, I don't really like the players that I have. And there's so many differentials to go for right now that I just wanted to pull the trigger. So let's go for it and let's jump right into my Game Week 22 wildcard analysis. So here it is. This is my Game Week 22 wildcard. Each pick that I've made is so well thought out, and I have to break down every single pick in order for you to understand the holistic picture of why I made the choices that I did. The first thing I want to explain to you is that in order to wildcard early, you have to make assumptions. And the assumptions that I'm operating under, there's that, the ManCity double that's come into 25, that's not an assumption. I'm going to assume that ManCity are going to beat Luton in the FA Cup. And that means that in Game Week 29, when ManCity are playing against Brighton, that'll be a blank fixture in 29. And that'll mean that in Game Week 34 or 37, that'll be a double. The second assumption I have is that because Liverpool went through in the FA Cup, I'm going to assume that they're going to continue to win in the FA Cup and they're also going to go through in that round, meaning that in Game Week 29, that'll also be a blank and they'll likely get a double game week in 34 or 37. Now, the interesting thing with Liverpool is that the Premier League is going to have a lot of pressure to rearrange their games. Because think about it like this. Liverpool are going to be first or second favorites in the Premier League. They're going to be favorites in the Europa League. They already are in the Carabao Cup final, and they're probably going to advance in the FA Cup. I mean, think about Liverpool's backup front three. It's going to be Diaz, Gakpo, and Jota. They can beat any team in the Premier League with that front three, let alone like a lower league team. So I think, yeah, Liverpool will be fine in the FA Cup. I think that's a fair assumption. So given that Liverpool and Man City are going to blank in 29, they're going to double later on in the season. I think the fact that, I just feel like the fact that Liverpool have so many fixtures, man, there's so many fixtures to rearrange. They have to move that Liverpool fixture that they've canceled from Game Week 26. They have to move it like early in the season now. I'm like, honestly, I've been following people like James from Planet FPL. I've been following Ben Crellin, and both of them are expecting Liverpool to have a double game week in Game Week 25. So I'm operating under the assumption that both Liverpool are going to double in 25 and probably 34, 37, and same with Man City. The next assumption that I've gone with is that I think Bournemouth and Wolves will also be a blank in 29. And the reason I'm thinking this is because both Wolves and Bournemouth went through in the last round of the FA Cup, so they're now playing against different opponents. So if one of them beats their opponent in the FA Cup, that means that this game will be a blank. I looked at Ben Crellin's percentage and he's saying it's around 70%, and I think that makes sense. So if Wolves either beat Brighton in the FA Cup or Bournemouth end up beating Leicester, who I think are top of the championship, that means that this game will be a blank. There's a chance this backfires and I'm wrong, but I honestly agree with Ben Crellin. Like, there should be around a 70% chance of this being a blank. So I'm just going to assume that's going to be a blank. Because of that assumption, that makes somebody like Hwang Hee-chan even more valuable. Like, he's already a great value asset, and like, he's playing great football. Wolves have been scoring in pretty much every single game, but Hwang is on pens. So he's just a great value pick to have. On top of that, Bournemouth already have another fixture to rearrange. They have that Luton fixture, which was called off. So if they have a Luton fixture and a Wolves fixture to rearrange, then it kind of just sets the table for me to just think about my chip strategy. And I feel like the best strategy for me, given that I just want to freshen up my team right now, is that I could just triple up on Liverpool, triple up on Man City, put some Bournemouth players in my team, put some Wolves players in my team, prepare for some doubles later on in the season, and just free hit in Game Week 29. I mean, I have no idea who's going to be playing in this week. And I just think I just want to plan and just ignore 29 completely. It makes a lot of sense. And I just feel like there's a chance that Bournemouth are honestly just going to be great like assets on their own just based on value, like forgetting about fixtures. I think Bournemouth are playing great football this year. I just think the last like 5 or 6 games when I've been watching them, I'm like, wow, like they're just playing really solid football. They just won 5-0 in the FA Cup. They beat Man United. They beat Palace. Like, they're playing great football. Last year, Ivan Toney was the talk of the town. And you know what? For good reason. He's a great quality player. He put up 20 goals in the Premier League. He was a great FPL pick if you just set and forget him. So 20 goals is great for a striker. You know how many Solanke has at the halfway point this year? 12. So Solanke is a great set and forget pick, and he's a good solid pick. He's at 7.1. Over the course of the season, if you're playing in a front two formation, you could just have Solanke and Haaland up top, and I think that would be a solid formation to go with. So that's kind of on my radar. So these are the assumptions that I'm taking into account when I built like my first team. And this is the reason that I've kind of gone with triple ManCity. I've gone with triple Liverpool. I put Senesi in there. I put Hwang Hee-chan in there. And I've got like Eze in there to kind of cover Palmer. So whenever you're wildcarding early, there's players that you're betting for and you're betting against. When I think about somebody like Palmer, he's been getting penalties every single week. How sustainable is that? He's a great quality player though. Like there was one goal that he scored. He ball rolled the goalie and scored it. I was like, this guy is mad. He's really good, but it's just not sustainable to return every week. I'm not expecting him to get double digits like he has been in the past. I feel like he's been getting very lucky. And if you're an owner and you watch football, you just got to agree with that. Like you got to enjoy the points when they come to you and understand that that's positive variance. And I'm just thinking to myself, like this man has Liverpool, then he plays Crystal Palace, Wolves, and then plays Man City, and then blanks. That's the type of player where you're playing Liverpool, Man City, and blank in the next 5 that I feel like I can bet against. I'm going with somebody like Ibrice Eze. It's just going to be great. He has Sheffield United. He has a Burnley in there. I think he has like a Luton in there. He has a Brighton in there. There's some really solid fixtures for Eze. So I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe Eze is the type of differential I could go with. And the thing is like, I don't know if Eze is actually on the pens for Crystal Palace, because Elise took the last one. But does it make a difference if Elise is in the squad for Eze or no? Because if Elise is in the squad, maybe Eze's not on the pens, but that means there's more creativity in the team, means he's going to get more chances and he can just be more direct, which is what he likes to do. He likes to be direct and score goals. You can see it with the way that he plays. On top of that, if Elise is not in the squad, that means Eze would be on the penalties, meaning that he's the main man, but it's easier to mark him out of a game. So that's the thing, is like, it's really hit or miss. I don't know if it's going to be the right player to be betting against, but I just feel like on a wild card, it just makes a lot of sense to do so. So that's kind of why I went with Eze. And I think I really want to emphasize that the reason I am pulling the trigger on this is that Liverpool are just, they're flowing. Like they're flowing. We're playing great. We smashed Norwich. We just went against Bournemouth in the league. Bournemouth have been playing amazing football this year and we smashed them 4-0. I did not expect that at all. And I just think Darwin has turned the corner. Like I think it's underrated how well that he's playing. I think Diogo Jota, same thing. One of the streakiest players in the league. He's probably Liverpool's best finisher. Like that's how great Diogo Jota is. I've identified him in preseason. He's one of my guys. I love watching him play. He's a gunman. He can finish anything. But right now it's like he's in form. He's playing every match, and Liverpool need him, with Salah being like injured for now. Speaking of Salah's injury, there was like this whole like conspiracy theory, like what if, he's injured right now, and now that Egypt are out of the AFCON, maybe Salah will just make a miraculous recovery, and maybe he'll be back fit. But honestly, I don't think Salah's actually fit. Like I've seen pictures of him in the gym on Instagram, but it's gonna take at least a couple weeks for him to get back to full fitness. And I think in the meantime, Darwin and Jota are going to eat up those minutes and they're going to score some goals for Liverpool. And I was surprised they scored 4 goals without Trent in the team. And Trent is like the creative hub of the squad. So with Trent back, he played off the bench versus Norwich. That means Trent is not really that injured. Maybe they just wanted to give him a break. And, with Chelsea and Arsenal around the corner, he's definitely playing those matches, no doubt. Those are huge matches for Liverpool. If we want to go on and win the Premier League, we've got to at least get 4 points from those matches. So that's what my expectation is. If they can do it, that means we can win the Premier League, because that means Salah will come back fit and we'll have a lot of easy fixtures coming up. So let's see how things go. There's a lot of optimism. I'm a Liverpool fan, but that's another reason why I want a wild card, is because I really want my triple Liverpool and I want to just ride it towards the end of the season. I want to ride into the sunset and be a Liverpool fan. Like think about it like this. When you look at the XGI, non-penalty, expected goals, and expected assists for all the players in the Premier League, Darwin Núñez stands above them all. That means that Darwin Núñez is getting more chances than anyone in the league. That's just incredible when you think about it. And the problem with Darwin is his conversion rate. But over the last 3 games, he scored a goal in every single game. He's playing great football right now, honestly. And I just feel like Darwin has always had the raw potential. Like he's always had it in him. It's just about finishing it. And I think confidence is so important. Once you score 2 or 3 goals, the sky's the limit. In my opinion, after this Chelsea and this Arsenal match, I'm not sure if Salah is going to be back fit or not, but I still think that Darwin is going to be worth a hit. because if we're assuming that Liverpool are going to double in 25, and that means that they're going to have a fixtures of Brentford and Luton in the double. In 24, they have a fixture against Burnley. I think Darwin could easily put up 20 points over those three matches. I think he's worth the -4. Even if I wasn't on wildcarding, I would still make sure I brought Darwin Núñez into my team at some point. The reason why he's so great right now is because not only does he have higher non-penalty expected goals and expected assists than anyone in the league, he's also on penalties for Liverpool right now. So I just feel like having somebody like Darwin as a differential is huge. And I just think the upside is crazy. Like, would it surprise you if Liverpool went out there and smashed Chelsea 3-1? It wouldn't surprise me at all. We're at home. I mean, that Arsenal fixture is going to be much more difficult, but in big games, that's what Darwin lives for. He loves to run in behind. Like, there's no way Liverpool go out there and score 0 goals versus Arsenal. There's no way. Like, I just don't see it. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Salah tries to make a recovery for that match. I mean, I don't know how that's going to be, but that game is season defining. So I really hope we have a good match, and I want to be cheering on my boys, Darwin and Jota. It'd be nice to own them. So that's kind of why I really like my team. Like, especially from an attacking perspective, I really like the players that I picked. Moving on to my last differential, it's actually going to be Joao Pedro. I mean, when I look at his fixtures, they're absolutely gorgeous. And honestly, Brighton just have so many injuries. I mean, think about it. Mitoma's not there. March is not there. Adigra's not there. Ansu Fati's not there. I mean, they're very reliant on Joao Pedro. So I just felt like on pens, nailed minutes, he's just a wonderful differential to own. In fact, because ManCity play Brighton in Gameweek 29, it just makes sense to me that I would start with Joao Pedro, and once he's out of the team and he's not playing 90 minutes every game, I would just bench him, and I would just keep him for eventually when he doubles later on in the season, because they're going to have a double game week with ManCity later on, and any player that plays like 90 minutes and is on pens, whether that, he gets 60 and 30 or 30 and 60, it doesn't matter which game he plays, but if he gets 90 minutes and he's on pens, he can score in any match. So I just feel like in a double game week, he's a solid asset to have, even at the price point of 5.4. But for now, with all these injuries in the squad, I mean, I really like him. And remember, Brighton's identity is their attacking identity. They score goals. So Joao Pedro is going to be involved. I think he's a great differential to own right now. So that's kind of why I went for my Brighton player. That's why I went for Eze to cover Palmer, and Hwang Hee-Chen. He's another differential that's on penalties, a good solid value pick for the season that will double later on. So that's why I went for my triple City. That's why I went for my triple Liverpool, Eze to cover Palmer, Hwang Hee-Chen for later on in the season, Joao Pedro because I think he's a great differential, and Saka because, I thought he was essential last year, and he's playing better this year than he was last year, and I don't want the narrative of him blanking in the last couple weeks to change my mind. I just think, Saka has the ability to be the next Salah. He just needs to be more direct, and even though he's the type of player you can bet against, I just don't think it's worth it at its price. If Saka was at 10.0, like Son's price, or if he was like 9.5, then yeah, I would think about it. But at this point, no chance, bro. I got him at 8.5. I think his value is like 8.8 to me. It's hard to get somebody better. If Son was at the same price, then maybe I would think about it. I would probably do that because Son is more direct and probably a better player than Saka, but especially from FPL perspective. But I think for now, I think I'm just going to roll with Saka and just try to cover up Son with somebody like Foden and move him on to maybe just cover up Son's points with Foden, or maybe move Foden to somebody like Maddison to cover him up, maybe Richarlison. But that's like a later thing. So I've sort of just explained the attackers that I went with and the reason that I went with them. I'm a logical player, but I also have emotions. Like, I am a Liverpool fan. That is one of the major reasons I am wildcarding. I miss having Liverpool players in my squad. But again, I'm not just doing this emotionally. Like, I've been finishing around the top 100K over the past 2 or 3 seasons in a row. So I have a really good track record. But I think my emotion is probably why I'm not as good at FPL as people that are just strictly analytically based. So maybe that's something I can work on for later seasons, but that's the reason that I made the picks that I did. Let me just move on to my defensive rotation. Hey, this is your reminder of, listen, I haven't posted a video in 2 or 3 months. YouTube is not going to like me. The algorithm isn't going to pump me out. So if you could just like my video, comment on it, just show some love and some engagement, it would mean the world to me. Thanks. The first player I want to emphasize is going to be Kyle Walker. So he's the type of player that you don't have to get from Man City. but I just feel like I'm not going to afford Kevin De Bruyne, and I feel like I do trust Walker as a defensive pick. He's actually providing a couple more assists from his cutbacks when he cuts down on the right wing because he's always wide, creating space for the inside right winger, somebody like Bernardo or Foden in that role. So I think Walker's nailed, plays every single minute under Pep, and he's just so great right now. So when I look at the rotation for Man City, they rotate perfectly with Bournemouth. It's actually uncanny. So if we look at it, in Game Week 22, you play Walker, who has Burnley at home. Then in 23, you would play Bournemouth, who play Nottingham Forest at home. Then in 24, you'd go with Everton at home. In Game Week 25, Man City have a double game week. I'd expect Kyle Walker to play both games because they are tough fixtures. In Game Week 26, Man City play against Bournemouth, so I'd play Walker. In 27 onwards, that's where I would be relying on my Bournemouth fixtures. So I would go for that Burnley, Sheffield, Wolves, Everton, Palace. And then in Game Week 32, that's probably why I would go back to Walker because you trust, Man City over Bournemouth, and that's where you would go back to Kyle Walker in 32. So that's kind of the rotation. It works so well. It's actually unreal. So that's one of the reasons I also pulled the trigger on the wild card. I was really content with this rotation long term, especially with how cheap it is. Walker at 5.3 for me and Senesi at only 4.5, just makes sense. The next defensive rotation is going to be Liverpool. So how can I protect Trent Alexander-Arnold? I think Trent is the best asset in the game, especially from a defensive perspective. Not only from a defensive perspective, though. I think Trent and Darwin right now are the best assets in FPL, but that's just my opinion. So when I think about Trent, I think I do want to bench him in 26, and I want to bench him in 28. And if I have the ability to bench him in 32, in 23 against Arsenal, I would, especially away from home. But I don't think I have that ability. So I just think if I start with Trent, I got to play him, and Trent can return in any week. But specifically for 26 and 28, I have to bench Trent. And that's when Guehi comes in at 4.4 only. He plays Burnley in 26 and he plays Luton in 28, both at home. So I'm hoping that, he can pick up one clean sheet during those two fixtures, and I'll live with the result. It is what it is. And obviously in every other fixture, I'm going to be starting Trent from now until the end of the season. He's him. He's my favorite player in the league, and I think he's going to go down as the Premier League's best all-time right back. If he stays at right back, though, he might transition to midfield, so that could change it, but we'll see. I think as a right back, I think he's the best I've ever played in the Premier League, but that's just my opinion. We'll see what the statistics say when his career is over. And my last defensive player is actually going to be Pervis Estupiñán. I mean, when you look at his attacking statistics, they're off the charts. These are a bunch of strikers in terms of non-penalty expected goals and expected assists. And you see Estupiñán up there. What the heck is he doing up there? And you look at the fixtures, they're gorgeous. Luton, Palace, Sheffield, Everton, Fulham, Forest. But the thing is, in Game Week 24, they play Spurs away. And Spurs love to score goals. So I don't want to be starting Estupiñán there. So the thing is, it really works well because in Game Week 24, I could play my Walker and I could play my Bournemouth defender. So it covers Estupiñán in 24 really well. So the only thing I am worried about is that in Game Week 29, 30, 31, and 32, I'm not sure I want to play Estupiñán. My plan is to free hit in 29, so I'm not worried about that. But from 30, 31, and 32, I feel like I need to find a defender that rotates well with Estupiñán. And the thing is that I only want to keep Guehi in my squad for 26 and 28. After that, I have no use for him. So if I'm able to just transfer him out to somebody that has good fixtures in 30, 31, and 32 that would rotate well with Estupiñán, that would make a lot of sense. So I don't know who that is right now. I'm sure I'll just identify that later on, but that would be the way that I would navigate this situation, especially given the fact that Estupiñán is very strong from an attacking perspective. And in 33, he has Burnley. In 34, I'm expecting he's going to get his double game week with Man City. And in 35, he has Bournemouth. So he has good fixtures after these fixtures. So if I'm able to just find somebody that rotates well, that'll be the key to just unlocking the potential of what this defensive rotation can do. So I really like my team from a defensive perspective. I absolutely love it. Estupiñán, Walker, and Trent, I love them. The only problem is I don't have Trippier, and Trippier could be a game breaker, especially because they don't have any other competitions to fight for. So Trippier could be the player that could hurt me. The next one is going to be Pedro Porro. He could also hurt me, but at the end of the day, you can't own everyone. I don't have Watkins, man. He's 100% EO. You're probably watching this video, you don't even care how many points Watkins gets because they don't really impact your rank, but they will for me. So imagine players like Watkins, Palmer, Son, Richarlison, Porro, Trippier. These are great quality FPL picks that I'm going to be betting against, but you can't own everyone. And I just think in my mind, Trippier is out of form. Watkins not on penalties. I feel like Son playing on the left wing, you might be able to cover him up with Madison or Richarlison. So those are just my assumptions that I'm baking into the thoughts that I'm making. And I'm not just, wildcarding willy-nilly. Like, I really just feel like this is the right play for me. And I'm really content and I'm really satisfied with the players that I've made. And I can't wait to see how this plays out. Ooh, there is one thing I want to mention. Something that could change on my wildcard is that I actually might just put Haaland in there instead of Alvarez. There's a chance, because if I see the news that Haaland is fit, I'm already seeing pictures of him in training, and it's definitely a transfer I'm going to be making the next week anyway. So it's like, why not just get ahead on it and just do it now? And I can't tell you how many times I've wildcarded and wished I had an extra free transfer. So there's a chance I do that, but this doesn't change any of the other assumptions I've provided to you. So that's it. I just want to say thank you so much for paying attention, staying all the way to the end of the video, and just wanted to say, listen, it's been a while and I'm thankful for all your support. And if I provided some value to you over the course of this video, please just drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all again soon. Peace.